Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Dolphins Roundtable, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Make sure to hit the like button on your way in the building, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to get all the latest content right here on Dolphins Roundtable. Now, I know we're getting a lot of stuff here today. Miami is clearing house. 4 players gone. Already have 2 of them out the door in Bradley Chubb and Tyreek Hill. Now, 2 more are already gone. And these are players that just lasted 1 year. One of them only lasted 3 snaps, to be honest. And that was James Daniels. James Daniels, the guard who we just signed to a 3-year, $24 million deal in 2025 is gone. And so is Nick Westbrook Ikhine, who we signed to a 2-year, $6 million deal, is also gone as well. Both have been released by the Miami Dolphins. Now, a lot of you are probably trying to figure out, why? Like, what happened? Well, Nick Westbrook Ikhine, as much as he was a short-term deal, so none of this was creating big cap space for the Dolphins, but this was we talked about full rebuild, right? We're bringing in younger players. We're getting rid of the veterans that are not going to be able to contribute nearly as much. Nick Westbrook Ikhine really struggled to be wide receiver 3. Obviously, you had Tyreek Hill, you had Jalen Waddle. Now, 2 of those are already out the door. But he really struggled to find his place as wide receiver 3. And then you had Malik Washington come in, and he really became like that wide receiver 3 in Mike McDaniel's system. And when you had Taj Washington, you had some other receivers as well. Theo Weiss come in, Cedric Wilson. It made it hard for Nick Westbrook Ikhine to really see the field and really make an impact. So why would you keep someone around that's not making an impact? Move on. Get someone that's younger in there that can make an impact right away on a cheaper contract and take advantage. So ultimately, Nick Westbrook Ikhine is out. Not really surprised about that one. I was really more on the surprising fact that we signed him in free agency. I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, he's going to be a red zone threat because he's a tall receiver, especially with what he did in Tennessee. And he could make some deep catches down the field. But when you look at Miami, we couldn't block long enough to even get the ball down the field in big plays. So there's already that out the window. And we have to get to the red zone first, which Miami struggled to do this year. So therefore, it makes that kind of decision to sign him kind of irrelevant at that point. So ultimately, he's out the door. Now, James Daniels, 3 plays. 3. That's how many plays it took for James Daniels to sign with Miami and to walk out of Miami, basically. He got released. It didn't last long. 3-year, $24 million deal. When he's healthy, he's great. He's really good at guard, and that's something we needed going into this season. Somebody I was really high on in the run game. However, suffered a pec injury, 3 games in, didn't play, and is out the door already. He is older. He's had issues staying healthy. He came off a really serious injury before signing with the Miami Dolphins, and then ultimately suffers that pec injury. So when you're looking at the injuries and the injury history starting to build up, he's getting older, and he plays on the offensive line. And when you're the Miami Dolphins, you can't always keep having guys get hurt. And when you can bring in younger guys cheaper that can make much more of an impact, you don't want the aging veterans to be around that are going to be constantly getting hurt and not being productive. So Miami's getting rid of the people that were being non-productive out the door. Now, yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit in terms of the financial standpoint, but in the long run, it's going to help Miami in this rebuild, bring in younger guys on cheaper contracts that can make an impact right away and ultimately develop into playmakers. So ultimately, that's, I think, where this decision is going. Now, I was more shocked by the James Daniels news than I was Nick Westbrook Ikhine. Westbrook Ikhine made a lot of sense. Should never have signed him, in my opinion. James Daniels is a little surprising because when you look at Miami's offensive line, it's not great. And while I do understand getting rid of him because of an injury standpoint, I'm not seeing a lot of guys that can come in right away and play and make an impact unless you're getting them in the first round or second. Now, there are some guys at terms of center that can make an impact, but not at guard right away. So ultimately, we'll see what Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan have up their sleeve come free agency. But it's becoming Black Monday for the Miami Dolphins. They are clearing house. The older aging veteran players are going out the door. And we'll see how this shakes out. But we got a couple weeks till free agency. It's getting pretty interesting here in Miami. A lot of big names out the door. The big news still to fall beside Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, which we expected Tyreek Hill. Bradley Chubb was just another one that we expected could happen. Now it's up to the big decision of Tua Tagovailoa. Is he getting traded? Is he getting cut? That's the big decision. But when that decision gets made, we'll have it here on Dolphins Roundtable for sure. But ultimately, not really a shocker, but James Daniels and Nick Westbrook Ikhine are out the door after 1 year, and James Daniels after just 3 plays. I want to thank you for watching this edition of Dolphins Roundtable. Make sure to like the video, And make sure if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to get all the latest news right here on Dolphins Roundtable. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.